Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are back in the Montana. But this one is the BA Montana, aka the Badass Montana. As if the regular Montana isn't badass enough. This one comes with spicy extras. And because it's a different version of the same ship, I decide to use a different build than my standard build. AKA my good old-fashioned Hoshino build. Gives us extra heals, gives us a lot of good things. It's a faster reload, all the things. So we're gonna get up in here and we're gonna try to do the best that we can. And we're gonna showcase once again what happens when I ask for support and nobody answers. But sometimes it's okay. You know, sometimes you just gotta take things into your own hands. Like Thanos said, fine, I'll do it myself. That's exactly what this match is going to be all about. Now, I gotta give a shout out to the Kaba that's right here next to me for one good thing and then a couple of bad things. The good thing is, he does his job, which is more than I can say about most Kaba players and most Destroyer players in general. So, gotta give him credit where credit is due. Did his job, right? There are only 2 destroyers per team on this lobby. The enemy has a division on the other side, right? Meaning that there's a good chance, or I think a guaranteed chance, that the division spawns on the mid-cap, right? So we can assume that the Stalingrad and the Loria are going to be here. Now you'll notice the first thing gets spotted is the Montana on the right, and then the Musashi gets spotted charging in on the left. So I have to make a decision. Which side do I support here? Do I support the right side? Do I support the left side? Judging by the positions of the ships, the Musashi is probably going to be the bigger threat at the moment, just due to the fact that he's charging in. He's actively going in. So that's who we choose to go after. We aim out ahead of him at first shot. We get an okay result out of it. Not the best. Again, long-range accuracy, not the strength of this build, right? We are not looking for the super accurate long-range shots. You will still get accurate shots out of this thing because it is Montana and it's inherently accurate. But that is not the primary, thing or the primary reason that this ship exists. This ship exists for being up close and personal. Now, I've talked about the armor of the Montana so many times, and there's a lot of people out there that don't believe that the Montana is a brawler, and I try to tell people all the time, I'm like, guys, the Montana is literally one of the best brawlers in the game when it comes to armor. The belt armor of this ship is insane, and this goes for the Ohio, the Montana, this thing, it doesn't matter. They all have incredible belt armor. They don't have the extended belt that the GK has, but the belt armor is absolutely incredible. You couple that with the fact that you've got American 16-inch guns, which are very accurate, and the fact that you also have a fast reloading build for Hoshino on this particular build. And on top of that, we also have the ability to use an engine boost on our Montana, meaning that this gigantic monstrosity of a ship, as beautiful as it is, can actually get out there and get into position. Now look at this Kaba. Gets into a fight with the destroyer early. We help by hitting him with a little bit. Not much damage to the destroyer, but does the Kaba just let him go? No. Kaba recognizes that there's no real threat around him except that Shima. So he simply goes in and murders the Shima. Simple, doesn't need to be elegant, and yet very effective. One of the 2 enemy destroyers is dead. The other one, you may have noticed, has decided to YOLO an Alaska on the left flank. And you'll see he gets spotted, disappears, and then gets spotted again as our Alaska activates his sonar. Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that getting into a gunfight with a radar cruiser at point blank, probably not the best idea for your destroyer. He thought he could get away with smoke. He could not. But he is going to get away for the time being. He's going to wrap around behind the island, and we are going to start to move into the cap. Now, this is the downside of what I'm going to say about this Kaba. This Kaba is doing things by getting into the cap. He's trying to capture the base, but then inexplicitly, he just leaves. Now, you might say that the guy is going to hunt the other destroyer, and if that's the case, then great. But that ain't the case. And not only that, But he left the cap right as he was about to get the cap. Like, I'm coming into the cap to help you, and then he pulls out of the cap just in time to screw us over. And I will mean that that does screw us over, because what's going to happen next is we've got the division right off our bow who are doing division things, which is hiding behind the nearest island at the back of the map, praying to God that their team carries them to a victory. I don't know these people, but if this is how you play a division, you're probably not going to be a winning division. Just say. Anyway, we're going to try to put ourselves in position to counter these guys. But the goal here was to grab this cap. Now you can see that the right flank managed to hold their side. The battleship behind me is still not really doing a whole lot. I'm sure he's gotten some shots at some people. But we are very aware of the fact that the division is off our bow and that the Musashi is still on our left. Now this is very important, folks. Okay, you can't lose track of who's around you. We all get tunnel vision. It happens. Now, Loria's going to get a good shot on us. We're also going to get a good shot on him. And both of us hit each other for roughly about the same. But if you're looking, you'll notice that that Musashi is now in reverse. He may be pulled. He may have just pulled forward to go after the teammate for a second, and you can see Kaba is now getting into a gunfight with a Musashi at point-blank range instead of going after the destroyer. But I digress. It is what it is. We're going to go ahead and try to get some shells around the island here. Again, trying not to rush too quickly ahead because we know that the enemy Musashi is coming. It's just a matter of time. So we want to try to stay angled as best we can against the Musashi, that in a moment's notice I can turn in and get an even steeper angle on him. You can see I've never once thought that this guy was going to get away with this. And you can see as I get the enemy off my bow again, here he comes around the corner, and you're done. I'm sorry, Sunshine, you don't get a pass go, you don't collect $200. You're done. That is why you have to pay attention to what's around you. Now, as we get ready for the next push, do I just push willy-nilly into a Loria, a Stalingrad, and a Yama behind an island? Do I? No. I want to use my head here. You can be aggressive, but still be smart about it, right? And so we have to be smart. Now here, we're about to get our guns on. You can see Loria's still shooting SAP, which is fine with me. He does some damage, but we're going to get some shells in there. And one of the shells actually connects with the Citadel, which we know that thing has a ridiculous Citadel. Easy to access if he over-angles, and he's definitely over-angled. But we were limited by the island. Now you can see I'm requesting support, and what happens? Same thing that happens every time I request support, Pinky. We get the negative. Now, the negative was probably in regards to somebody telling him to get back. But my biggest fear at this point is me going around the corner and getting absolutely kerblastered. We know that the Yama's there. We know that the Stalingrad is there. We know that the Lori is there. That is a lot of hard-hitting guns waiting for me to be a dummy. So we can't be a dummy. Now, the other thing you got to think about is what would you do in this situation if you were these people? And if I'm in a division and I know that the battleship is about to come around the corner, flanking is an option, or at least pulling forward using the island and disappearing so that then you can get a good shot. Now here you can see I stay close to the island to utilize that cover so that the Yama doesn't just punch me through the bow for 30k, right? We get the shot off, don't get the best result out of it, but now we have to angle against the Loria. And you can see, unfortunately, I do end up kind of rubbing up against the island here, but he gets to that point where he tries to take the shot, goes for the belt, and Montana does what Montana does best. And you don't get to pass go. You don't get to collect $200. Can I get a third? Asking to get yeeted up in here. Now, pay attention to the map. Stalingrad did not run away. He's still here, meaning he's waiting for me to get into a fight with Yama, and then he's going to come back around the corner to be a little turd waffle. We already know this, so what are we doing? We're pre-aiming our rear turrets. By making sure that we turn our ship to the left, we can stay angled to the Stalingrad, get shots with the front guns, and then have the rear guns ready to go for the moment that this guy decides to do this. You ain't fooling nobody, Sunshine. Now, unfortunately, he does stay relatively well angled here, so well done to him for not being like his division mate and the other battleships in the area, not giving up his broadside, because that would be certain death in a Stalingrad, but at the end of the day, he's not gonna get much out of this. He's gonna charge forward, take on my battleship, take on my cruiser that are on the outside, and then it's just me versus Yamato, and this poor Yamato never had a chance. He thought that he knew what he was doing. He was wrong. As we go straight through the cheek, and send that man to the Shadow Realm, breaking up their entire gameplay from the get-go. Like, they never had a chance. Their whole team, their whole strategy was to sit behind the island and hope that somebody bails them out. But unfortunately for them, even in a 4v1, they were no match for my Montana. As we get top of the leaderboard, 2,597 base XP. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, I will see you in the next video.